8.2, and we're going to be looking at another special right triangle like the last lesson, but now this one's going to be dealing with a 30-degree, 60-degree, and 90-degree right triangle. So again, those are the degree measures of a right triangle. So let's jump into it. All right, so let's look at our key points here. So I know if I have a right triangle with the degree measures of 30, 60, and 90 degrees, there's going to be a special relationship or ratio that's going to happen with my side measurements. And so that means if I'm given one side measurement, I then, in theory, could find the other side measurements just by knowing this information. So let's go ahead and look. So in a special 30, 60, 90 right triangle, the side opposite of the 30-degree angle, because we've learned the side that is opposite of the smallest angle is the smallest side, is always going to be represented as x, or it's just going to be everything that's going to work off of. So opposite of my 30-degree angle is going to be the x, or the x term, okay? The side opposite of my 60-degree angle, so that's going to be my middle one. Opposite the 60, I'm always going to take the smaller leg or the smallest side and multiply it by the square root of 3. So that means if I knew the smaller side, I would then multiply by the square root of 3 to get that, okay? And then lastly, opposite the 90-degree angle is always going to be 2 times the smallest side. So 90-degree angle, opposite of that, I'm always going to take the x and multiply 2 times that to get that hypotenuse. So we're going to take this information and use this template to then find the missing sides of a special 30, 60, 90 right triangle. All right, so on example number 1, it says we need to find the measure of the 2 missing sides, okay? And so right now, if you look at my triangle, I know I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So since I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, the relationship of my sides has a special situation. So like up top, opposite of my 30-degree angle, so opposite of that 30-degree angle is always going to be represented as x. Opposite of my 60-degree angle is always going to be represented as x times the square root of 3. And then opposite my 90-degree angle, which is my hypotenuse, is always going to be 2 times x, or 2 times that small side. So if I look, x is 12, which is my smaller side. So now I can find the other 2 sides just by multiplication. So right here on my hypotenuse, I'm doing 2 times x, which is 2 times 12. So 2 times 12 is going to give me 24. So that means my longer leg, or my longest side, is going to be 24, okay? So now to find my middle leg, or opposite the 60, I'm going to multiply the little leg by the square root of 3. So I'm going to do 12 times the square root of 3. And so now, technically speaking, that is simplest form and radical form, so that would be my answer. Or I could type that in the calculator and get a decimal, and then that would be my answer if it's asking for the decimal form. But then again, the template's always going to be the same. Opposite the 30's x. To find the hypotenuse, I'm going to multiply the x times 2. To find the middle leg, I'm going to multiply the x times the square root of 3 to get that leg. This is example number 1. Let's jump over to example number 2. All right, guys, so now look at example number 2. So then again, if you look on example number 2, it says we need to find the measure of the 2 missing sides. And if you look, I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So again, this is going to be a special right triangle with the sides are going to be a special ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and write my template real quick. So I know opposite the 30-degree angle is always going to be my short side. So I'm going to represent that as x. Opposite the 60, I know I'm always going to multiply the short side by the square root of 3. And then now, opposite of my 90-degree angle, I'm always going to take the short side and multiply it by 2. So it's going to be 2 times x. Okay, so let's think about this. I know that to find my hypotenuse, I have to multiply by 2 to get here, correct? So now, the opposite of multiplying by 2 would be dividing by 2. So to find this over here, I'm actually going to take the long leg, and I'm going to divide it by 2. Because I multiplied by 2 to get here, so I'm going to divide by 2 to get back. Okay? So 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. So that means x is 4. Because look, 4 times 2 gives me 8. 8 divided by 2 gives me 4, so it works out both ways. Now I can actually find my long leg by multiplying by the square root of 3. So I'm going to take my short leg, which is 4, and I'm going to multiply it by the square root of 3. So technically speaking, this is going to be my simplest form, radical form. But if I wanted to find my answer in decimal form, I'd plug that into the calculator and get a decimal. So ladies and gentlemen, we have now found the missing sides of my right triangle by using the 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Okay? All right, now lastly on example number 3, it just tells me I need to find the measure of x. So in order for me to get there, if I look here, I've been given a 30, 60, 90 right triangle again. So now I know there's a special situation where opposite my 30-degree side is going to be my short leg, so x. Opposite my 60-degree is always going to be my middle leg, which is going to be that short leg times the square root of 3. And then opposite the 90 is always going to be 2 times x, okay? So right now if I look, I've been given my middle leg right here, correct? So now I know I'm taking my short leg and I'm multiplying by the square root of 3 to get here. So now to get back to the short leg, I'm going to divide by the square root of 3. So I'm going to take 11 square root 3 and I'm going to divide it by the square root of 3. Now if I look, my square root of 3's are just going to cancel, so I'm going to be left with 11. So that means x is actually going to equal 11. And so now to find my hypotenuse, I'm going to do 2 times that. So 2 times 11 is going to give me 22. So ladies and gentlemen, my hypotenuse is going to be 22. So if you look and you're able to utilize this template, it makes it a lot easier to go back and forth from side to side just by knowing the situation and knowing that this multiplies to that. So I just need to divide to go backwards, okay? All right, and lastly, guys, the challenge question is always there to see if you are ready to move on to the skill check. If you have trouble with this, you need to call me over so I can help you, or if you're able to do it on your own, no problem, hop over to the skill check and have fun with it. Then again, if you need help with anything, call me over. Good luck.